And we're live. Welcome everyone to another Ubuntu Community Team Q&A. We hold these every week at roughly the same time. We're off a little bit depending on your daylight savings time changes. But I hope everybody's here and able to watch this. We are on ubuntuonair.com. You can watch us there, and right below the video there's an IRC widget where you can join our IRC channel and ask us questions. If you don't want to use the built-in widget, you can use your regular IRC client. We are on Freenode on #ubuntu-on-air. You can ask any of us questions anytime right in that channel. Just start it with the word question in all capital letters, and we will get a nice highlight so that we don't miss it. With us today, we've got some guests from the Kubuntu project. We've got Jonathan Riddle. Are you JR or Riddle on IRC now?
Riddle.
Riddle, okay. And we've got Rohan Garg, also from Kubuntu, who is Shade Slayer on IRC. And they're going to be giving us an update on what's going on in the world of Kubuntu and KDE Plasma 5. I know there's been a lot of posts lately I've seen on Google+, a lot of screenshots coming out. So I'm excited to see what you've got going on there. So you can ask them questions anytime. You can ask Alan and I questions anytime about the desktop version of Ubuntu, Unity, the phone stuff we've been working on, anything like that. Once again, just start it with the word question in all capital letters. All right, so Alan, I don't think we had any updates specifically this week. So we'll go ahead and get straight onto the KDE stuff then. Do you guys have a screen sharing session or something you want to show off?
Jonathan has one.
I can turn this on here. How does that work? Oh, look, I can see Michael Hall. Oh, look, there's Rohan. Hello, Rohan.
I can see myself.
You're muted. So, what do we want to show? The next version of Kubuntu coming out next month. It will come with Plasma 5, a whole new version of the desktop from KDE. It's our 10th anniversary at Kubuntu, so we're very excited to be celebrating our 10th anniversary by having a whole shiny new version of our favorite desktop.
And is this the default on Kubuntu now?
It's the default on the development version of Kubuntu, and it will be the default on the release, which comes out next month. So shall we have a quick look around on my screen share session? So we've got Firefox, the browser. It's a GTK application. It fits in with the shiny new theming which we have, which is made by the KDE Visual Design Group, an excellent new group who are doing a lot of work in terms of the artwork and the design of applications and making everything slick and smooth. The layout of the desktop is pretty familiar, and that's deliberately so. We're not rewriting the whole layout of your desktop. People know how it works. It does work well for people, so we're not changing the fundamental layout of it, but instead we're making it an awful lot more shiny. So we've got a panel down at the bottom, we've got an application menu, we've got a sys tray, we've got the taskbars. It's all written in QML, the new technology from Qt, which makes everything look an awful lot more shiny and lovely and slidey and give you the kind of modern user interface that people expect these days. And it's been nice to see many other people move to Qt as validation of KDE's original choice back in the day that it was the best toolkit to use for writing these applications in. So what have we got on our desktop? One thing I'd like to point out is KDE Connect, which is a nice tool that integrates desktop with your phone. So if somebody wants to send me a text message, if there's anybody out there, can send me a text message to, there's my phone number. Can I paste that into the IRC channel? You can send me a text message to there, and hopefully it should appear on my computer. Oh,
now, all of this is logged, by the way, so you maybe end up getting text messages for some time in the future now.
Bring them on. I want to make sure that this thing is working well. What else have we got? So we've got the instant messaging tool. That's an interesting example because the instant messaging telepathy client, that's still Qt 4, but our desktop is Qt 5. but they both work seamlessly because all the theming that exists that has been written for Plasma 5 that also has been written for Qt 4. So the theming when installing the Breeze theme, you can't tell if an application is part of is Qt 4 or 5 or GTK because it's unimportant to the user. Everything hopefully just fits in and looks nice. So Dolphin's the file manager here that is written in Qt 4, but you wouldn't know or care because it has the same theme as everything else. The instant messaging telepathy, we had to rewrite, we had to ask them to write a special applet for it because the applet integrates directly with the desktop. So we had to ask them to write a special applet so that the new version of Plasma has an applet that works with the old version of, or with the current version of telepathy, and that's working very nice. So you've got your devices as well. You've got clipboard manager, including handy stuff like can you turn it into a barcode. We've got volume manager, important for doing on-air broadcasts like this. That's going to be rewritten in the next version, but it works very nicely. And I've got the keyboard set up because I'm in Spain and I like to switch between British and Spanish keyboard. And I also use Plasma Notes to keep track of any notes that I want to keep a track of. Oh yes, and I have different activities. So when I'm at work in serious mode, I'm using the default layout so I can ensure that I'm testing. When I'm at home, I have a different layout with a beautiful girlfriend on there so I can remember my wonderful home life. And that allows people to organize, because people work differently in different situations, and activities allows you to set up your computer so that it naturally moves between those different situations. And the use of activities, the integration of those into the desktop has been much improved in Plasma 5. It's now a lot more slick and smooth to switch between them and create new ones.
Can you tell us a little bit more about activities and what they are? Because I'm not familiar with that.
It's a different layout of your desktop. It means that different applications run on the different activities, and it allows you to separate the one use case from the other. And the original setup for it that Aaron Psycho had in mind when he first wrote Plasma was that somebody who used their laptop at home and at work, he opened up a folder, he dragged out all the icons. He dragged out all the icons from the folder onto his desktop when he was at home, and then when he went to work, he dragged all those back into a folder, took another folder, dragged out all the icons to the desktop when he was at work because he needed access to different things. And it allows you to do that in a much more elegant manner of setting up your desktop in entirely different ways, depending on the particular use case that you have.
Okay.
So what else did I want to talk about? We've had excellent press. We've had press articles saying it's the most exciting release in a long time. We've had press articles saying it's a masterpiece in the making, and we've been very pleased here in the Kubuntu office here in Barcelona that people have been giving us such impressive feedback already. What else can I show? So just in today, the LibreOffice, which is a lot of what we do at Kubuntu, of course, is integration rather than, because all the software comes from upstream, we work as part of the community. But we need to integrate it and make sure that it works well together. LibreOffice, not traditionally known for working well with other bits of software. So just in today, I've had to add in the Breeze theming, which means that all these icons here are the same as in KDE, and the scroll bars and so forth fit in. Yeah, so all the dialogues look as you expect them to look. And the icons have that shiny new Breeze icon theme, which is deliberately minimalist but deliberately functional so that it can work anywhere. And that's because Plasma, of course, one of the main ideas from it was the original desktop to have this idea of convergence, and that's the idea that the same code base can be used on desktop and with minimal adaptations on a netbook, on a media center, or maybe even on a mobile. And so hopefully people will be adapting this Plasma user interface to be able to work in those different form factors.
I was going to ask about that theme. Is it the default for upstream KDE?
Yeah.
Okay, it looks very nice. It's very, very clean and pleasant to look at.
Yep, so the Breeze theme, which is these icons and the widget set, as well as the funky wallpaper that we have at the back, that's all been the work of KDE's wonderful visual design group, and they've been doing an excellent job of it, and it integrates nicely between all the different widget sets that we have on Linux desktop.
Now, I know that Kubuntu, kind of as a rule, tries to stick as close to upstream KDE as possible. What sets Kubuntu aside from other KDE-based distros?
The main thing that sets us aside is that we'd like to stick as close as we can to upstream. So we don't feel the need to change work directly within Kubuntu because we work directly upstream as well. So I'm also the Plasma release manager. So any changes made in Kubuntu, we make them upstream first, because that's the best use of our resources, and it's the best use of the resources of the community that we're working with. So we will be the first major distribution with Plasma 5, and we like to think that we will know how to integrate it best, because we've been working hard for the last 6 months to make sure that it is properly integrated and that everything does work together.
And people who want to try it out now, they can go get the latest beta 2 of Kubuntu?
Yep, and you can download the beta 2, or you can't upgrade because there's a bug in the upgrade, so about that. But Michael Vogt is working hard on that, I'm sure. But you will be able to upgrade, or you can download the ISO and install that, and that should. It's pretty stable. It works great, and of course we need more people to test and get feedback to let us know. Somebody's finally sent me a message. Let me see if I can turn on the screen share quickly. Oh no. There it is. Hello, JR from Popey on his Ubuntu phone. Isn't that nice? We have successful interoperability between Ubuntu phone and Android talking with Kubuntu. That's perfect.
Very
what
nice.
else did I want to talk about? So we've changed our Chinese input method from IBUS to FCITX on the advice of our friends in China, and the author of FCITX, he is a KDE and Kubuntu user, so hopefully the setup tools for that will be nice and slick. Applications imported. Search, we've got the blue file search. File search in the old days in KDE was done with the older Nepomuk technology, which was pretty resource hungry. Blue file search is optimized to be very, very fast and very slick. And it's part of the menu here as well, so you can, as you search for your applications, you can just search for your files very easily. And it's it takes very few resources to be able to work, which is almost a first on any desktop.
And can developers extend the Blue system if they wanted to add like a Google Docs search?
Well, Blue is just the file search, but the search mechanism is called KRunner, and that has plugins, and people can add any plugin to search any item they want in there.
And where can developers find information on that? Or anything they want to do if they want to join Kubuntu or KDE development?
So all the desktop stuff, that's part of Plasma, and there's a Plasma Deval mailing list on kde.org. There's a hash Plasma IRC channel, or you can come to Barcelona, hang out in the office here. It's really good fun.
All right. So if anyone's got any questions for Jonathan or Rohan, go ahead and start asking them. I'd like to know, what is your favorite new thing in the new Plasma desktop? So that's a question for both of you.
I
would probably get on already. Let me see if I can do this. Can you hear me?
Yes, you can.
Yep,
right.
we can hear you.
Oh, just a second. Let's see. There we go. Yep. So let's see if I can type, no, music. So that gives me a very high-level overview of my folder, like music folder, and applications that can play music, and documents, and any system settings that I might want to modify. So for example, I can just open Spotify from over here, and I can start playing music right away. So that's like, it's been simplified a lot from the previous KDE 4 times, and I like the new simplicity of the KRunner overall.
So what do you press to trigger that?
Uh, I have a custom shortcut, command space on my machine, but the default shortcut is alt space. So this should work. Just a second. So, yep. Command space, and then you can even have, so KRunner itself has different plugins, so it can do calculations or even shut down your machine, for example. There you go. Restart computer over there. So it can do a lot of things. I don't have instant messaging set up, but if I type in a friend's name, it will open a chat over there. And yeah, I can even filter windows in KRunner, so I can go. So it gives me a list of windows that I have on my machine. So that's my IRC client, for example. So yeah, overall, I like the new design of KRunner, and it integrates very well with my current way of working. So for example, you don't see any kickoff on in my panel. That's because I use KRunner heavily to launch applications and everything. So I actually don't have a launcher on my machine. I use KRunner for everything.
That really is quite fast too, isn't it?
Yeah, yeah, it is. It is absolutely. It's absolutely instant for me on my machine, and my machine is about 3.5 years old. So it's like, it's a decently dated machine, and even then, it manages to be really fast.
How about you, Jonathan? Do you have any favorite new features?
I can talk more about KDE next. So Alan sent me a text message there, and it popped up on my laptop. But also, if I get a phone call on my phone, then it will turn the music off on my desktop. So while I'm answering a phone call, which is really convenient, and I can use it as a pointer, so that at home I have a setup with a projector up in the ceiling, so it projects a nice film over there. But it means my laptop has to be way over behind me, so I can't easily change it. I can use my phone as a remote touchpad in order to control the mouse and control the media functions to play and pause the films. So it's really nice to be able to integrate your desktop with your phone that we all carry around.
All right. So what is coming up after 15.04's release? Do you have any plans yet for 15.10?
Rohan has stuff he's been working on that he wishes to promote or announce today.
Right.
Do we get an exclusive announcement on our Q&A?
Yeah, more or less. So I'm very happy to announce today that we have, so like most of you might have heard about Kubuntu CI, which is our CI setup to build KDE packages on Ubuntu. But today I am also announcing a Debian CI that I've been working on for the last 3 or 4 months. It is more or less, like it has been working to build packages for the last 3 or 4 months, so you can have frameworks packages on Debian SID right away. Hold on, let me do a screen share and see if. There we go. That is our Debian CI. So the URL is dci.pangaea.pub over there. And yeah, so you have the Qt 5 packages. We have Qt 5.4 packages that are building. I see there are 5 failing packages that I have to fix, clearly. And we also have frameworks here. There we go. So yay, no failing packages there. And we have Plasma 5, which I'm currently rebuilding. So yeah, there we go. And all of this works exactly the same as Kubuntu CI. So the Debian folks push changes in their packaging and it gets rebuilt on Kubuntu and it gets rebuilt on Debian as well, so that we can make sure our packaging works across both Debian and Kubuntu so that we have as little difference as there can be between the packages. We already share the same repositories. So the idea is to now have a single shared common packaging in different branches, and the Debian developers can reuse our work when they're releasing the newer stuff on Debian. Also, I am not only building for AMD 64, but I'm also building for ARM. So you will see. So yeah, so there are jobs for that. There are packages for AMD 64 and ARM at the moment. And yeah, that's my big announcement, so to speak, at the moment. I have also the other one. The other announcement that I wanted to make was the Raspberry Pi 2 came out recently, and you can run Ubuntu on it. Except like there was no regular Ubuntu image like that I could find, or a tool that could properly from that made image from the official Ubuntu repository, so to speak. So I wrote my own tool that takes Ubuntu core, which is a very minimal Ubuntu system, and converts it into an image. Let me do another screen share to show that. So that is the repository, and it is basically a YAML file. You specify the root file system. Over here, I specified the 1504 beta 2 release for Ubuntu core. And you specify the firmware, which is from the official Raspberry Pi firmware repository. And it will give you an image with the Ubuntu user and with the password set as Ubuntu. And it's just a very simple tool that you can use for any other distributions out there, really, not just Ubuntu, but for Debian, Fedora, or any distribution that you can think of, Arch. So it's a very generic tool that you can use to convert root file systems into Raspberry Pi 2 images, really.
So you can use that to make your own Raspberry Pi images based off of Ubuntu?
Yeah, that is correct.
Do you have one for Kubuntu already?
I actually was talking to Michael Wogart this morning, and he said he'll look into making a root file system for Kubuntu Plasma 5. Once I get that infrastructure set up, then I can start producing images right away. So I'm just waiting on Michael Wogart to give me a link to the root file system.
All right, very cool. Yeah, I just got my Raspberry Pi 2, and well, technically it's not mine, but
yeah.
But I'm going to play with it anyway.
Yeah, I noticed you put an announcement on Google Plus yesterday, if I remember correctly.
Yeah, I can't say much because he might be in earshot and he doesn't know yet.
I see.
So anyone who follows me on Google Plus or Twitter will know what I'm talking about.
Yep.
All right. Might be worth introducing Kubuntu CI, because I don't think we properly introduced that today, which is that it's our continuous integration system for packaging, and so it means that whenever we make updates to the packaging, whenever upstream KDE developers make an update to the source code in KDE Git, they get munged together, they get thrown into Launchpad, and they get built, or not if there's some problem, and then it gets reported if it successfully goes and if it successfully does what it's supposed to do.
And that's in addition to just building, is that also running a test suite on everything to make sure that it passes?
The test suite then comes later when we upload it to Ubuntu properly. So Kubuntu CI has this Jenkins instance, and that will merge in our packaging with the unstable branch, and it will build both the stable and the unstable branch, and it will build it on Vivid currently, but it is set up so that it can build it on Utopic, or it can build backports as well as the current version, so everything should be available to everybody. And we have CDs that get created every week, which you can download from the files.kde.org site with the latest CI packages, and those are images of Kubuntu, latest CI packages, and they're very, very useful for people testing their code that they've written in KDE this week to make sure that it actually works and it does what they want to do. So it's the best way that developers of KDE software have to test that their stuff is working. And as Rohan said, all our packaging is now shared with Debian. So when we make changes, they can, if you are familiar with Ubuntu development, you know that Ubuntu it gets branched from Debian packages, and then we make changes, and then we have to merge those in. That's now trivial to do because it's all in the same archive and it all uses Git, and so it can be merged automatically, or it can be, if it needs a manual merge, that can be done very easily. And so the work that gets done in Kubuntu is always shared with the work in Debian. That saves an awful lot of work done by people, especially because we've had to rewrite an awful lot of the packaging over the last year or two because a lot of the KDE software has been restructured and rewritten.
And what releases of Debian is that being built for? Is that just for the testing release, or does it cover like stable and unstable also?
That's the Debian tier only builds for Debian SID at the moment because we actually have to build everything on our own servers. So we can only cover just SID and at the moment. Plus Debian stable would get outdated fairly quickly because Plasma 5 and Frameworks 5 have a very rapid release schedule. So Frameworks 5 releases every month. So it could entirely happen that 6 months from now. Plus Frameworks 5 requires some library that is outdated here on Debian stable. So then we would have to put in the effort to actually make it build on Debian stable. So we only have targeted Debian SID at the moment. And yeah, so it's only available for Debian SID on the AMD 64 architecture and ARM.
Okay. All right, we've had some questions come in. I'm going to go ahead and do the Kubuntu-based ones first, and then we'll go back and we'll do the others. So the first one was from Lifar. He asks, can I use KRunner to access the menu structure of a program similar to the Unity HUD?
I don't think so. I don't think that functionality is there at the moment.
No. There's no KRunner written that accesses that, but they could be quite easily. Qt 5 and Plasma 5 are fully have the accessibility APIs integrated in them, so you can use the normal accessibility tools like Orca as a screen reader, and that works well with the desktop and with all the software as well. Integrating it with KRunner would be interesting. I haven't seen that. I can't off the top of my head imagine a particular use for it, but it would be entirely possible.
Okay. Eartha asks, I currently work heavily on a day-to-day basis with my PC doing software development. How much risk is there in moving to KDE 5 Plasma next? He's currently running 14.10.
Pretty minimal. It works very stable for me. We've had 2 betas, and it works well for pretty much everybody. I am aware of a bug. Well, in our integration with NVIDIA drivers may be one of our major issues, but we have pretty well triaged bugs. So if you go to qa.kubuntu.co.uk, you can find our bugs list for Vivid and read those, or they're on the release notes as well for the beta. So just browse over the list of bugs, which are there's only about 20 or so, which are the most important ones, and that's getting reduced every day, and they're pretty well sorted or triaged, so that if there is a problem, then it's easy to find out.
All right. Any more questions for the KDE guys? Please go ahead and start getting them into the IRC now. Go ahead, Rohan.
Yeah, just wanted to add that Dolphin is currently KDE 4, so it should be as good as on the previous versions of Kubuntu, really. As for what was the other one? Kate. Sure, Kate has moved to Kate 5. Is Kate 5, and it should be Qt 5 based. I don't really use Kate myself, so I can't really comment on it. But I have other people in the office who use Kate very regularly, and they seem to be having a good time. They don't experience any crashes, as far as I know. So should be good to go, really.
And of course, if you try out the live DVD, you'll know for sure how it's going to work before you commit to an upgrade. All right. And one last thing, for anybody who wants to get involved in Kubuntu, the community or the project, where should they go and who should they talk to?
We work quite heavily on IRC, so drop into the IRC channel #Kubuntu-devel on Freenode.
All right. Well, thank you guys for being on. We're going to go and answer some of the other questions. If you want to stick around on the video, you can, or if you need to drop off, that's fine too. We do appreciate you coming on and giving us an update on what's going on in Kubuntu and KDE land. Oh, now we've got questions coming in for you. Let's see. Valera asks, does KDE still ship with Conqueror?
Does KDE ship? KDE is a community of people. It's people like me and Rohan over here, and we don't ship. Although occasionally I like to go for Canute. But we make a lot of software, and our software gets put out there, and distributions like Kubuntu will pick that up. And distributions like Kubuntu will pick the ones that work best for them. And Kubuntu hasn't shipped with Conqueror for about 5 years or so. And as I said earlier, we ship with Firefox by default now. I would like to move back to a KDE web browser in future when there's a good one out there, but there isn't one that's good enough at the moment, so we don't. But it's still available there if you need it for any reason.
All right, so I think there's still some confusion about the difference between KDE and Plasma. Can you try and clear that up? I know Plasma is now the name of the actual software, right? Or frameworks?
Plasma is our desktop, so when we do the screen share, all the windows, the window manager, the panels, the background, the setup tools, they all get released as Plasma. We also have KDE applications, and that gets released every 4 months or so, and that includes 100 different applications that like to get released at the same time. We have, for developers, we have the frameworks, which is the underlying libraries. They're additions to Qt, which is the widget toolkit that KDE uses and other people use, like Ubuntucom. And frameworks is just additions to that. So a lot of the work that was done in 2012, 2013 in KDE land was taking all the KDE libraries, getting rid of the rubbish in them, taking the good stuff and putting it upstream into Qt because there's no reason to make it any different. And anything that Qt people didn't want is just part of a framework, and there's 60-odd different frameworks that just add nice features for your application if you're a programmer. They're not interested in them for users, though. Is that clear? 3 different parts: frameworks for programmers, Plasma for the desktop, applications for the applications, but the applications, they run on any desktop.
Okay. All right, I'm going to go back through and take some of the other questions now. So, Alan, I hope you're still around to help me with these. Let's see, Lifar asked, when Mir will enable app sandboxing, what will that mean for apps on Unity 8? Will an app be unable to access the file system? And how does Content Hub play into that? Can an app launch another, like the browser opening the dialer? So, several questions, actually. Mir already has app sandboxing, and on the phone, apps are sandboxed both with Mir and with AppArmor. So by default, an app doesn't have access to the whole file system. It's only got access to a few directories that are specific to that app. That's already there. It already works. The apps are already working around that. And the way to do that is, as you mentioned, the Content Hub. That's a service that lets one app request specific files or content from another. And the exchange of that is handled by a mediated service that makes sure that apps don't get access to something without the user actually explicitly giving them access to it. So that's all there. That works. We've got a bunch of apps already using it in the store. And in addition, you can launch another app if you know the specific name of that app. You can launch it directly. There's a special URL. I think it's application:// and then the app ID. So you just launch that from your app, and it'll automatically handle opening the other one. But more often than not, what you want to do is you want to use Content Hub to request content, either to import or to export. All right, Leafar asks, how is the state of theming on the phone? Currently, it's not something that's enabled. We have different themes available, but we don't have any way to switch them. I know that the theming is undergoing some heavy refactoring right now. So you can talk to the SDK guys on hashabuntu-app-devel, and they can give you more of a heads up on the state of that. But currently, there's only one available theme on the phone. It's called Ambience, and there's not a way to switch it just yet. But we are working on that. Let's see, answered that one, answered that one. Nothing Much is asking, how do you add a package to the Ubuntu repository? Is there a tutorial on how to do that, and do you need to be a programmer to do it? You don't have to be a programmer to do packaging, though it will certainly help. We have a website. Let me see if I can find it. Daniel Holbach set this up. I think it's developer. No, it's not developer.ubuntu.com. Packaging, I think it is. Hang on one second. Let me find this. Yeah, there it is. So if you go to packaging.ubuntu.com, you'll be able to find information there on how to build packages for Ubuntu. It's got links to setting up a PPA, the Debian New Maintainers Guide, which you really want to become familiar with when you start doing this, because we do follow Debian's packaging guidelines. And I think somewhere in there it should also give you some information on how to submit it to be included in the archive. So you don't actually upload it directly yourself. You propose it for uploading. You need to provide a source package for Ubuntu developers to use to build the package. And then it'll be reviewed, and if it's accepted, it'll be uploaded into the archives by somebody else. All right. Let me see if there's any other questions.
Worth pointing
go
out,
ahead.
When people ask the question, how can I get something into the Ubuntu archive? For many people, the right answer to that is actually get it in Debian, because that way everyone benefits from the package, and you get it into Debian, then all the Debian derivatives benefit from having that package, as well as Ubuntu and all the Ubuntu derivatives. And if you get it into Debian through their rigorous process, then we get it by default the next time we synchronize from Debian, which is multiple times during the development cycle. It's a bit late now to get something into 1504, but it's possible to get it into Universe. But for the next release, I would get things into Debian, and then everyone else gets the benefit.
Yeah, if you get it into Debian now, it'll be pulled in immediately once we open up the new archives for the next release. And you will get told if you submit a package for the Ubuntu archives that's not Ubuntu specific, you will get told to send it to Debian first. I've had that happen for like 2 out of the 3 packages I've submitted to the archives. So yeah, absolutely get it into Debian first. Yeah. All right, Jakey is asking, without starting with the word question first, again, please start your questions with the word question in all caps, and that way it'll turn bright yellow for me and I don't miss it. But Jakey did ask, is there any way to add ringtones to the phone? I can't paste in developer mode. I don't think there's any way to add ringtones, not easily anyway, not anything that I know of. I'm not sure what you mean by not being able to paste. Is that related to the original question, or is that something different?
No, there is a number of questions around copy paste, and that question has come up quite a bit, and there's certainly a couple of bugs we're tracking specifically in the web browser app and Oxide for copy and paste.
Okay. All right, we have another one for the Kubuntu guys from Eartha. Does Kubuntu have plans to use Qt Quick for desktop tools in the future?
Well, the large part of the work that went into making Plasma 5 was to rewrite everything in QQuick, because that's a lovely shiny user interface, and that's what allows this menu to slide out in a relatively elegant way, but also to degrade nicely if you happen to have hardware that doesn't support acceleration or so forth. And we're writing applications now in native QQuick. So Mu and Discover is our package manager, and that's written in QQuick, and that has things that slide and swoosh around in the way that people have come to expect. So yes, the desktop is entirely QQuick. Applications are being rewritten in it as appropriate.
All right. So the answer to that is they had plans years ago, and they've already been implemented. All right, Irvink asks, does the new Unity have a way of handling notifications like the new GNOME 3.16, like a notification center? We do have a messaging indicator, which kind of combines all your notifications and ways to quickly respond to some of those. And I think Plasma also has something like this, doesn't it, Jonathan?
Sorry, I wasn't listening. What's the question?
The question was about having a notification center where all of your desktop notifications get collected.
Yep, there's notification will be down at the bottom of the screen, and it includes things like this, which again has come from my phone because that's connected to KDE Connect, and this is my bank saying give us more money or whatever Spanish banks like to do. Does that answer your question?
Yes, I think it does. I hope it does. If it doesn't, Irving, please ask a follow-up question. And ask it quickly because we're out of questions now. And if we don't get some more questions in soon, we will wrap up the video for this week. While we wait for those, I'll give the obligatory plugs for the Ubuntu On Air account. You can go to ubuntuonair.com. We've got a Google Calendar there where you can see upcoming events. You can also follow us on Twitter at Ubuntu On Air, or on our YouTube channel, youtube.com/UbuntuOnAir or user/UbuntuOnAir, something like that. On our YouTube channel, you can see this video after we're done broadcasting it, as well as any previous video that's been recorded as part of Ubuntu On Air. You can go back and rewatch all of those at any time. And if you want to follow along with the IRC logs, they're usually on the hash Ubuntu On Air channel, and they're all archived in irclogs.ubuntu.com, so you can follow along that way as well. All right, and we do not have any other questions. Jonathan, Alan, is there anything else you want to add before we end the video?
Come to Academy if you're interested in helping with KDE. Academy is in Ikaruna in Finisterre on Galicia, on the west coast of Spain. It will be gorgeous this year.
When is that?
In July. Yes, sometime in July.
All right. Is there a webpage for Academy?
academy.kde.org.
All right. And you two are both going to be there? I know we've got some other Kubuntu guys that are going to be there. So if you want to go ahead.
We will probably have an entire day dedicated to Kubuntu development and planning.
All right, so if you want to go visit a beautiful part of Spain and a nice part of the year and hang out with some cool guys, definitely check out Academy. All right, thank you everybody for watching our video and for your questions. Thank you Rohan and Jonathan for joining. And of course, thanks Alan for being here to help me out with this. We will be back next week, some of us from the community team. It probably will not be Alan and I because it'll be somebody else's turn. But we will be back for another Q&A session next week on Tuesday at 1600 UTC. So if you didn't get your questions answered today, you can come back next week and we'll answer them then. All right, thank you everybody.
Thanks guys, thanks Jonathan, thanks Ryan.